Ladies and gentlemen, today we're in for a special treat. Not only am I here joined with my good friend, doubles partner, member of the Pickleball Clinic team, and up-and-coming pro player, Richard Liverneese, my co-interviewer, but currently we're in the presence of greatness. We're joined by Pickleball's number one family, a three-headed professional pickleball monster and dynasty that has and continues to leave a defining mark in the pickleball world, the Johnson family. Julie Johnson is a top 2 senior pro in the world. Her daughter, Jorja, has made it to within the top 5 players in women's pro pickleball. And her son, JW, is currently the number 1 singles, number 1 men's, and number 2 mixed doubles pro pickleball player in the world. So basically, this family lives and breathes pickleball success. It's a pleasure to have you guys on. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Aaron. Quite the introduction.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I did put a little bit of thought into it. So I wanted to start by asking you a question. Hopefully each of you can give an answer. I'd love to hear your unique perspectives on what pickleball means to the Johnson family and what the Johnson family means to pickleball.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So what pickleball means to Mom Johnson anyway, is just an unbelievable chance to get to connect with my kids in a way I never thought, never dreamed. It was never on the radar. And to get to travel the country and have them around and watch their success and just be in awe of everything they've been able to do. I mean, I think I might be the most fortunate mom in the world. It's just been mind blowing. And, just as a parent, you always second guess, did we do this right? Did we do that right? And I will always do that my entire life because, there's still a lot of growth and living to do, but I'm really proud of the kids, the way they conduct themselves, their sportsmanship. And it's just been almost too much family time, when we've traveled together for weeks, but all these memories, I'll treasure it forever. Now, what do we mean to pickleball? I have no idea. I hope we mean a group of players that brings integrity to the sport, brings passion and love for the game. I tell the kids all the time, do you guys realize you could be like, essentially the Rod Lavers, the pioneers of this sport, that one day they're going to look back and talk about you guys, and we're getting to watch the game change, grow, all those types of things, and that's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
All right. Hard to top that answer, but what pickleball means to me is, my brother always wanted to play mixed doubles with me in tennis, but I just never got that far into the sport. And to be able to, so I just kind of let that dream go. But then when we both got into pickleball and then found ourselves like playing this crazy game where, we'd have a second chance at competing together, practicing together, traveling together. It's been really cool. I really enjoy hanging out with my family and just meeting people from everywhere, all different sports backgrounds, business backgrounds. It's really cool how we've all found something in common from all these different walks of life.
Yeah, I think you guys are so blessed. I mean, I have a little sister and we're close, but there's just different types of brother-sister relationships. You could be good friends, you could be enemies, you could be frenemies, you could be business partners, but to be successful mixed doubles partners is just the type of feeling that, very few sibling relationships can have in the world. So kudos to you guys for making that work. And I mean, we're so excited to just see where that partnership goes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. So I have a question for JW. Obviously one of the bigger names in the pickleball world in general. You're known by many to show a bit less emotion than others on the tour, whether you're winning, losing, playing great or not so great. You've broken Ben John's 100+ game winning streak. You've been upset at times by lower level players, but no matter the situation, you always seem to stay extremely composed and almost never allow your opponents to know how you're feeling, which can be an extreme asset on the court. So I'm wondering, is this a skill you've worked hard on building or just one that comes naturally to you?
It's just natural. Even through when I was playing tennis in my early years, I mean, I was just always just calm. I don't know. I don't ever get like where I'm shouting or anything, even if I'm winning or not. It's just always been natural to me.
Right. Speaking of tennis, I mean, when it comes to pickleball, the wrist ability you have is absolutely incredible. Actually, quick funny story, when Richard and I came up to you a long time ago in Florida. I'm not sure if you remember this, but I think it was Richard that came up to you and said, "Hey, JW, like, what do you do? How do you get so much wrist action on the ball?" And you were like, "You just do this." We were like, "Yeah, man."
I was like, I solved it. I was like, I solved it. Now I'm going to be the next JW. All I have to do is this. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's basically all it is. Just that little. There.
Did you use that much wrist in tennis, or is that something that you completely just adapted for pickleball?
I mean, like how I use the wrist in pickleball, I could definitely not do that in tennis. Otherwise, I'd probably break my wrist. But I mean, I don't know. It's just probably like I know I watched myself when I was playing like a year ago or something like that, and I definitely didn't have that much motion on my wrist when I was hitting the shots, and I just developed over the couple of years that I've been playing. So it's just watching others do it and then trying to do it do how they do it, and then it's just developed. I don't know. It's just I like how it's built, obviously. So
yeah, it seems to have worked out pretty well. Another question just about kind of getting into the play style of JW Johnson. You know, again, just the way you play obviously has inspired a lot of others to adapt their games after you, and whatever you're doing is obviously working. Your ready position at the kitchen is pretty unique. Whether it's tennis or pickleball or even racquetball, the average way to approach a ready position is to have that paddle right in the middle of your body. You know, most players wait for the ball with their paddle up right in the middle of their chest. Frequently, you know, you're seen with the paddle down at your side, and yet you're still known as having some of the best hands on tour in the world. Is there a particular reason behind why you have your ready position like this? Do you know something that other players don't?
yeah, I mean, it's just like the Cowboys, how they pull out the gun from the holster and just whip it out just like that.
Nice, nice.
I don't know. I mean, that's just how it's always been. Of course, I've had people tell me, you know, you should have it up. You should have it up. I'm like, well, no thanks. I think I'm doing quite well just how it is right now. But I don't know. It's just that's how it started out, and I mean, it's just worked for me. So I haven't really tried to change it that much.
As they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
This is a little bit of a lighter question, but you know, JW, with all your focus with all the focus around your game on your incredible skill set and your play style, one of the most pressing questions people have in the pickleball world for JW Johnson is, what do you do for fun?
That's funny. For fun, I mean, I don't know. I'll go eat. I'll go to the movies. Yeah, eating is a big part. That's a big part. Go to the movies. I try like padel and squash, and those just different types of things, just to like mix it up. I mean, I've watched it and it seems pretty fun to try, but I haven't tried it yet. But then other than that, I don't know, just going and hanging out basically.
So a follow-up one to that is, so definitely one of the most talked about things, especially right now, is there's been a ton of like new technology and things with paddles. So you're definitely one of the people who hasn't used one paddle, right? For a long time, you switched around. You used like the Yola carbons, you used the Groovin for a while there, and now with Franklin. So why did you eventually settle on Franklin? Could you talk a little about like the insight into like why you were switching paddles? I mean, I think everyone knows you're trying to find, like everyone, trying to find the best paddle, but how did the Johnson family and the Franklin marriage begin, and like how did that happen?
So basically, like obviously we all really love the Franklin paddles, and then we were trying their prototypes a little bit, and I mean they were very nice. Like we all really liked them. And then what else?
Well, it just it kind of came down to, we really negotiated a long time looking at paddles. We wanted to go as a family, and there was just a lot of back negotiations. Our agent worked really hard because, some people, they like the idea of the family, but, they kind of just wanted to pay for one Johnson or,
Yeah.
like that. And then the hardest part was finding a company that we all had a paddle we liked. And that's where Franklin came in. And they've been really good to us, and we've enjoyed. It's been just a brief start, but it's been a lot of fun. So there's actually a fun new member of Franklin coming out soon, and we got to do a photo shoot with this person at in Denwell. So there's a teaser for you.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So one quick follow-up for I guess one more quick one just to kind of finish on the paddle talk is JW, a lot of people, even like personally and other people have wondered, you use like lead tape like a lot of the pros. How do you settle on where you use it? Do you mess around with it, or is it something like that you talk to other pros about? Have you like, how do you decide on that? Because like even personally, I know a lot of people as they're trying to get better, they see the pros do it and they kind of want to try it out. But I think a lot of people don't exactly know how to go about that. They just kind of throw it on.
Yeah. Well, you probably shouldn't follow my lead, but I'm always just messing around with it. I put it on the throat quite a bit just for like stability. It's pretty solid when you do that. And then I'm trying to put it just on the corners right now, just for a little extra pop and spin. It's a little bit slower with the hands just because it's up near the head of the paddle. But I mean, I'm kind of liking that, so I'm just sticking with that. So
Got it.
Can I just say that when you live with JW, you have the daily lead tape conversation, and it drives me. Yeah.
So you're tired of it.
I am. Like, if you want to talk lead tape, you call JW. He'll talk to you about it every day.
Awesome.
All right, I have a couple lead tape questions I might think of in the future, so maybe I'll give you a call.
all right,
Go ahead.
A couple of questions for Jorja, and then some, a couple I wanted to ask about the siblings together. But Jorja, you've earned yourself a spot within the top tier of women's players in the world. You're also seen as very outgoing, positive, cheerful. You always play hard. You put out a ton of coaching content on social media. You love connecting with a lot of other players. I'm really curious, if you had to handpick, what's the number one greatest impact you hope to have on the pickleball world?
I really just hope to take my game to the full extent of my capability and just have fun doing it. Like, this sport is so new, and I know it's not at like its full potential, but I'm enjoying watching it grow, and it's definitely changed a lot just from when I first started. When I was first starting, I was considered a banger, and now I think I'm considered normal. I think it was a lot of dinking previously, but I'm glad I came in right as it made the switch to a more quicker paced game. But yeah, I really would just like to continue playing with the people I like to play with, and hopefully somewhere down the line I will have done something good for the sport, and people will have remembered, hey, she was all right. She did pretty good.
I think you'll be remembered as a little bit more than all right.
I think you're on good pace for that.
Thank you.
So George, another one for you. Like you said, pickleball's already changed so much while you've been in it. Where do you see, as somebody who's already seen some of those changes, where do you see it going in the next 5 years? How do you see the changes coming? Obviously we can't know, but like from your perspective.
From my perspective, I think venues will continue to get nicer. There'll be more dedicated pickleball clubs opposed to public courts, and I would think to see bigger courts, like more space within regulations, what pickleball, like what's considered a sanctioned court, because the people are hitting harder serves and they're running into the fence and they're hitting rolling dinks, and there's not enough room to ATP. So I think that the court itself on the sidelines will get larger. And I also see like serves becoming more and more important. Even now that they've taken away the spin serve, I don't think it's going to just be like a floater to get it in.
Yeah. And then the follow-up, I guess the one more thing is like, where do you see yourself in that world in 5 years? Like where would you like to be in the pickleball world in 5 years?
I would like to still be relevant. I'm not sure. I would obviously still like to play. I think I have quite a few years ahead of me to be able to play. I know that once there's a influx of talent into the sport, you won't be able to play as you get older, even though it does take less of a toll on your body to play doubles. But yeah, we'll see. I think the age at which you can compete at a high level is going to diminish.
Well, I think at the ripe old age of 20, you'll be okay. And
Okay.
I think you'll still be in the you'll still be in the sweet spot for a little while longer at least.
Right. Yeah. 20. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So I wanted to ask a tennis related question to JW and Jorja. Both of you have vastly different tennis backgrounds. JW were extremely high level player, a 5-star recruit, which is seen as for under, high school players and juniors, that's top 100, top 75 in the country. I think you're pretty high on that list. You're someone that could have gone on to have a successful D1 college career, maybe even pro. While Jorja, you played some tennis competitively, but weren't at that same level. Despite this, you both ended up near the top of pro pickleball or at the top of pro pickleball. People constantly share differing perspectives on whether or not having a serious tennis background helps or hinders your ability to be a great pickleball player. Some say it helps you start off with superior skills. You can swing the ball harder. You have wrist action built in. Others say it builds bad habits. What are both of your thoughts on, the tennis background? Do you feel that the difference in your tennis backgrounds cause one of you to have an easier or harder time finding success in pickleball? How do you see your tennis backgrounds playing into where your pickleball game has gotten to today?
Well, I think having a tennis background is good because then you got the ground strokes, you got the volleys up at the net. Really, I think the only hard thing for the tennis players is the dinking because you just want to go in and just rip every single ball, which we both want to do all the time still. But I think even with like the court position for tennis, I mean with pickleball it's a little bit different, but it translates pretty well. But I think the only thing that tennis might hurt is just the dinking, I think.
I think that tennis players, I think I feel fine that I didn't have an extensive tennis background. The only hinder I would say is that I didn't have any experiences previously at competing at high level sports, and it's definitely a mindset, like to be able to stick in it, and there are long days, and I would say it is slightly different than any other sport in the fact that you play match after match all day long, and then the next day you get up and you do it again in a different event, and then the next day same thing if you play all three, which we do. But I would say the mental aspect is different because I never played tennis at a high level. But I would also say that tennis players are very stubborn and stuck in their ways, and they'll just keep pounding that wall until something breaks, something changes. They'll keep hitting that same shot.
Yeah.
You can count on. I think
So, follow up to that for you guys, right? So one of the things is you guys have played a lot together, people have seen, but you've also played with some different partners. Can we expect to see you guys playing mixed a lot together in 2023? Is that something two people should be expecting?
it is, yes.
Very cool.
That the reason we held off is we're all super tight as a family, and after a loss or things don't go well, I say, even the Newmans have a different house to go home to. Like, we're all together still. And so we just want to ease into it with the kids, make sure they're comfortable, that they're having fun. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Just keep dipping the toe in the water, see how it's going, and move it on. So
Nice.
So Jorja and JW, not too long ago, you guys were spotted playing 4.5 tournaments, a couple of years ago. Now you're two of the best players in the world. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution of your success? How long did it take you to go from picking up a paddle to getting where you are today? And what were the things you uncovered or developed that helped you catapult your growth as players?
I would say when I first started, like it was like 4 years ago, I want to say. Uh, but I just never thought, I didn't even know there was pro pickleball. I just thought it was just people out doing it for fun. And then my mom went to a tournament, uh, and we didn't play our first tournament till a couple years later. Uh, and it was definitely interesting. A friend just asked me to play, and I always like competing, but I still never thought that I would be a professional. Like I wasn't introduced to that world. I didn't know any pros. But then they started playing with the Waters, and then they traveling to tournaments, and I thought, well, I want to come too. So then I just started training a little bit more. I wanted to play in tournaments that they went to, and it all went from there.
That's pretty awesome. So it's not like you started off like, okay, this is my mission, this is my life goal. You basically were like, hey, my brother, my mom are doing it. Looks pretty cool. Let me give it a try. And then you just kind of messed around and ended up as a top player in the world as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly.
That's
I was so I didn't think I would be a professional pickleball player at that age.
pretty cool. I mean, LeBron James' son is now close to entering the NBA, and it's like, how does that's pretty incredible. So kudos to you guys as a family, all three of you guys ending up at that top spot. It's yeah, extremely impressive. And sometimes you'll see two members of the same family at the top of a sport, but having three is really incredible. Especially like JW and Jorja, you guys are not only top players, but you're extremely young. Do you guys see your age as something that sometimes holds you back because of the pressure and something that causes stress, or do you feel like because because this is essentially one of the only things you guys know being out in the real world, that you're kind of able to approach it in a clear head? How do you feel like your age factors into the level of success you guys are having in the tour?
I think we pretty much adapted to the tour. Like I know at first, I think we were both a little bit like shy when we were playing in front of like kind of big crowds a little bit. I know I was, at least. And doing the interviews, I was shy about doing those too. But after playing like tournament after tournament, and just getting used to all the people being there and cheering, stuff like that, I kind of just got adapted to it. And I mean, other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a learning curve, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the pickleball community is very welcoming. It didn't take long until we knew a bunch of people within the sport, and we train with amazing players here, and they travel with us, and it's really fun.
Yeah, the road to greatness is still we're still on that road.
Well, I mean,
So a follow-up for Julie, just a fun question. We were wondering, I think people wonder this. Some families have this, and sometimes there's a reason, or sometimes by coincidence. But you're all J's.
Yeah.
Julie, JW, obviously James, and Jorja. Is that like coincidence, or did you always want like all J's?
Yes.
You don't know the half of it. Our whole family is Jays.
There's a lot of J's. Yeah, no, that was something my husband Jack came up with. He's like, hey, I want to name the kids J names. And I said, well, first we didn't know we were having Jorja, but with JW, I said, well, that's good because I was going to name him after my grandfather, who was JW. And so anyway, yeah, it was on purpose.
All the J's. And then, okay, so a more serious, not serious, but the different kind of question. So definitely, a lot of times you see, like Aaron was saying, it's really rare to have like a parent and kids both professional in a sport. You see a lot of times with successful pro athletes, their parents are supportive sometimes, or like Aaron was saying, like LeBron James, like his son, like there's like the parent-child relationship, but like I think you guys kind of have a unique relationship where like you're one of the top players on the senior pro tour and your kids are top players on the pro tour. How do you compare, like, obviously competing at the high level is amazing, and like at least like my parents, right? My parents aren't playing pro pickleball, but they like watching me play. how do you compare like the happiness and the enjoyment you get like playing yourself versus getting to watch your kids succeed? Because I think you're kind of in a unique spot that very few people have had the opportunity to be in.
Yeah, so there's good and bad and all of that, Richard. The good part is I love being out today. Sorry, let me rid of that. And did I lose you? Okay, there we are. And but however, I'll bring a bunch of food or water, and I'll come back during the day while I'm playing, and my kids will eating it, drink it, taking it. My hat, my whatever it is gone. And so there's that. And the worst part is when I'm playing and they put the kids on a court next to me. That's tough. And and then there's been very little controversy, but there's been a few tournaments where there was some controversy with one of the kids, and I can see it going on while I'm trying to play, or there's just something going on throughout the day. And so that's tough. But all of it's worthwhile. Just getting to be with them, live this with them, hang out with them. It's really great. But there's days like I went to nationals. They had the seniors first, and I told the kids, "Do you know how excited I am to go think about nothing but myself for the next 3 days?"
That's awesome. I get what you're saying. I was in Hilton Head, and I actually saw you and JW were playing right next to each other. And I caught you watching a little watching J-Dub play, getting him the ball. And I was like, oh, she's got to focus up. She got her own match going on.
I know. It's so tough. Yeah.
Julie, can you tell us the one thing about each of your kids, JW and Jorja, that you're the most proud of?
Yeah. So with JW, this is probably just a mom talking, but I actually feel like he's doing things that are changing the way the sport's played. When he beat Ben, he didn't get into the cat and mouse, which was kind of prevalent at the time. He drove the ball. And now you see that happening a lot. The whole wrist flick that he does from below the net is super tight. Yeah, whichever way that goes. And I just, I feel like at the end of the day, when his career's over, there's going to be contributions he made in technique and display. And another thing we talk about a lot in this family is, is there going to be a perfect pickleball body size like there is for basketball or a gymnast, or, different sports have different body sizes that are kind of prevalent. Is there going to be, how do you think the rules are going to change? How do you think that's all going to shift? But I really think that there's going to be some maybe technique things that he does that other people are going to emulate, follow along with. So that's fun. So I think JW is going to have a contribution that way. Jorja hits the crap out of the ball from the most bizarre technique I've ever seen. And she does it over and over with a high consistency. And I was talking to Lauren Stratman. She's like, well, she just did the Jorja Johnson, which nobody knows how she does it or where it's coming from, but it works and she pulls it off. But the other thing I think that Jorja is going to inspire a whole generation of kids younger coming in. She and Anna Lee being so young and dominant, I think that they're going to really start flipping the switch for a whole generation of younger kids to start playing pickleball seriously, as like the young tennis players do, the young soccer players. And I don't think it's just going to be the washed up tennis players who are looking for something else to do. I think it's going to be actually kids coming in because of Jorja and some of these younger players. And
yeah, I totally agree. I was just going to say, many sports have, the majority of sports, the superior athletes are 25 plus, 30 plus, and sure, it's easy for young kids to see them as role models and use them as inspiration, but it's hard to completely connect with them because for young kids, 12, 13 years old, these athletes they're looking up to are 10, 15 years older, whereas Jorja may be inspiring, young women that are a year younger than her. And these people can really connect. So I think, whether it's guys for JW, girls for Jorja, that level of inspiration is actually so much more effective in the pickleball world because these kids are literally, your age, they can connect with you and really kind of grow to be, follow the same path you are. So I do think it's pretty magnificent.
Going off of what Aaron was saying, we actually played at the Next Gen tournament, obviously, which JW won the first one of over the weekend. And I can give you some instant gratification and say we met a lot of like younger kids younger than us, but even kids like who are like 20, who are definitely your two names, Annalie Waters, are three of the most talked about names there already, with kids older than you. So not only are you inspiring kids younger, but people like. And not just because of how you play, but of the way you go about it. And like you said, like people talk, I know we started with this, but JW, you were talking about your like consistency and your level, and you do such a great job not getting too high or too low. And a lot of people want to emulate that. Like I'm somebody who like needs some more of that. I wear my shots on my sleeve, which isn't always a good thing. And you do such a good job staying level. And like, so it was really cool seeing like lots of people are already looking up to you, and that those numbers are only going to grow as pickleball's popularity grows. So we kind of got a taste of that this weekend.
Awesome.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Kansas City, fun. Chicken and pickles, fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very good quesadillas and tater tots.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I have one more question to end things for Julie. The APP recently rebranded the Senior Pro Tour as the Champions Tour. We love the level of commitment and pride that the APP has in its Senior Pro Tour. Obviously, both tours have great Senior Pro events, but the APP recently kind of took this whole rebranding approach. They have 20 stops, increased prize money, financial support for players. So I'm just curious, I know you play a lot of your Senior Pro events on the APP Tour. What do you think this means for the future of the APP Senior Pro Tour and for Senior Pro Pickleball in general?
Yeah, so Senior Pro's kind of been on a roller coaster. There's been a lot of upheaval, but we've got a good Senior Pro Council that is trying to keep things kind of stable for us and steady. The tours at the moment are in a lot of upheaval with there was Vibe, there's no Vibe. Now it's just MLP. MLP and APP had been kind of aligned, and now they're more aligned with PPA. So it's been shifting sand and quite a show to sit back and watch. So the seniors basically are trying to make sure that we relate to people. We'd like to offer a lot more services that would be beneficial to the tours. And we've talked about how that could look because, essentially we're not a Legends Tour. We are still older people with a good skill set that can play pickleball well, but we weren't John McEnroe in the younger day who's now on the senior tour of tennis. And so we're still trying to find our place and to make sure that we're relevant. I enjoy when we go out and play, how the crowd will say and watch us just because they can feel like they can relate to us more. And they're thinking, hey, these guys are our age and they're able to do X, Y, and Z. And I feel like we're an inspiration. But we do have a lot of discussions, even with APP, how live stream numbers drop when they put a Senior Pro match on. What can we do to just make ourselves be beneficial to the tour, to the patrons of the tour? We love what we do. We're a great group of people, lots of fun. And we need to give back and make sure that we stay relevant for all things pickleball. But I think eventually, if we keep carving out our path, there will be a chance for these guys at some point in the future that they will be the Legends Tour. They will be the Champions Tour eventually. So
Go Senior Pro.
Yeah, we've seen that in the pickleball clinic, even actually. Like that's one of the things, like you said, I mean, probably not as many, but you get a lot of people who are older. Like we have a large community, obviously, and you get a lot of people who are like interested in seeing Senior Pro matches just because they want to know, like, a lot of the people who are Senior Pros, unfortunately, JW can't do some of the things, and I don't think they're ever going to be able to do some of the things you can. So I think they're kind of a little more interested in the achievable goals. And I think, like Julie was saying, like being relatable, and I think you guys are relatable. So I think it is important. It's an important thing, especially because the game, while it's gotten younger, it's a game for all ages, and there's definitely a huge population of people 50 plus who play this game, and they like you said, it's much harder to relate to your children than it is to you. So I think that's a really important thing for the future.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys are obviously just a powerhouse of a family. Your name is going to continue to ring bells for years and years, all three of you guys with your individual careers on the court. I'm sure you guys will do fantastic things for pickleball off the court as well. You know, Jorja and JW, again, you're not only incredible players, but you're inspiring people under you. Julie, you're inspiring senior pros, people to want to aspire to play senior pro, but you've also done an incredible job raising two kids, and I can't imagine how proud you are. We're proud just to have gotten you guys on here, and this
we are.
This has been amazing. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, Rich and I can get lucky enough to find ourselves on the court with you guys sometime. And just wanted to say thank you again for giving us the time to hop on and answer some questions. And I'm sure you guys are going to go hit the courts and train in a little bit.
Yes, of
All
course.
right. Hey,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you guys.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.
Great talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Come on down to Florida. We'll set it up.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll do it.